One of my favorite things about old PopCap games is how referential they are to each other. It really feels like they're one big connected family, and Plants vs. Zombies is no exception. Unfortunately, with PopCap focusing almost entirely on Plants vs. Zombies, these other franchises stopped being maintained and were slowly forgotten. So in this video, I want to look at the 4 minigames in Plants vs. Zombies that reference other PopCap titles, ending with one you probably haven't played. I'll be ranking them based on how fun, faithful, and original they are, so let's get into this. Beghouled is one of the simplest minigames, but it's still a good time. To win, you have to make 75 matches by dragging plants to a nearby tile that creates a match of 3. While you may associate this minigame with the likes of Candy Crush or Royal Match, it's actually based on Bejeweled. Bejeweled released in 2000 under the name Diamond Mine and is the first ever match 3 game. It basically created the genre. Beghouled doesn't feature any special mechanics when you match 4 or more plants because the original Bejeweled didn't either. It actually took Bejeweled 2 to introduce power-ups for complex matches. It may sound like a no-brainer inclusion now, but this was completely new territory back then. Instead, matching 4 or more in Beghouled simply gives you additional sun, similar to how you'd earn additional score in Bejeweled. However, Beghouled isn't just a clone. It mixes PvZ tower defense into the formula. Zombies come in from the right and your plants attack like usual. With the sun you collect, you can upgrade plants into stronger forms like Pea Shooter turning into Repeater. When a plant gets eaten, that tile becomes unusable unless you spend sun to fill it one by one. In terms of fun, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable, but it feels way too easy. In the original Bejeweled, making a bad move could cause you to run out of moves and restart, which added real strategy and critical thinking. In Beghouled, there's no punishment for running out of moves. The game just gives you a new board for free. And it's already hard to run out of moves in the first place. The only way to lose is if a zombie gets past all your plants, but since you're given an entire board of plants for free, it's genuinely hard to lose. I was able to play through the entire minigame without upgrading my plants once and still came out in pristine condition. Originality-wise, Beghouled gets a strong 9 out of 10. The mix of tower defense and match 3 works really well, and it's one of the few minigames that was carried over into Plants vs. Zombies 2 and expanded on. They clearly struck gold with this one. Faithfulness is harder to rank because it's just match 3 at its core. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, mainly because of how easy it is. In Bejeweled, if you ran out of moves, that was it. In Beghouled, there's no consequence. And fun fact, PopCap is in the Video Game Hall of Fame. Bejeweled was added alongside Minecraft in 2020. Can you imagine that? A PopCap game sitting next to one of the best-selling games of all time. Zombiquarium is possibly the easiest and simplest minigame of them all, and I genuinely think it's a contender for the worst minigame in Plants vs. Zombies. In Zombiquarium, you get a snorkel zombie, feed it, collect sun, and repeat. That's it. There's no variation, no real gameplay loop beyond that. It's based on George Fan's 2001 game Insaniquarium, but don't let how dull Zombiquarium is taint your opinion of the original, because Insaniquarium is awesome. In Insaniquarium, you have to strategize which pets you bring to each level, similar to choosing your seeds, and how that choice affects your aquarium's growth. Each level introduces different fish that you nurture, which generate money. You need that money to build an egg that hatches your next pet. While that sounds simple, it's quite strategic. For example, you can rely purely on guppies, the cheapest and most replaceable fish, which are easy to spam and feed, or you could use carnivores, which generate much more cash but require you to sacrifice a guppy to feed them. Then there are aliens, which teleport into your tank and kill your fish. This entire threat is completely absent in Zombiquarium. In the original, you can lose everything if you're not paying attention, and there are multiple pets that either protect your fish or attack the aliens, adding even more strategy. About 4/5 of what makes Insaniquarium interesting just isn't here. It feels like George took half the original concept and dropped it into PvZ without adding anything new. I genuinely don't understand why this minigame feels so half-baked, especially since it was made by George Fan himself. If anything, I would expect this to be the most unique and creative homage to Insaniquarium. Instead, it's just a watered-down version. It could have benefited so much from small changes. Add tangle kelps, sea shrooms, cattails as alien equivalents. Add more zombie types so it's not just one. We're literally in a water level and Dolphin Zombie exists, but he's not here. Why? In terms of fun, it's a 1 out of 10. I always find myself going on my phone while waiting for it to finish. In originality, another 1 out of 10. It does nothing new. It's just a dried up Insaniquarium. For faithfulness, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Not because it's particularly good, but because it exists as a homage. Plants vs. Zombies originally started as Insaniquarium 2, and this minigame is a nod to the history. It's not good homage, but it is homage, and I respect that a little. Thankfully, I have much more positive things to say about Beghouled Twist. This is another minigame based on Bejeweled, but it's inspired by a spin-off that plays very differently. Beghouled Twist revolves around twisting 4 tiles clockwise to create matches. It's a much more thought-provoking system because you're creating matches you couldn't normally make in a traditional format. That said, the min-game is kind of flawed. As a kid, this one confused me because it didn't explain the rules very well. Most people I knew would just spam twists randomly until something matched and repeat that until they won. The only people I've seen smoothly fly through this are those who already played Beghouled Twist, which makes sense. There are some differences. In Bejeweled Twist, you could twist gems even if it didn't create a match. The trade-off was that your score multiplier would reset or decrease. Outside of that, several mechanics from the original are missing. There are no power-ups for matches of 4 or more, no coal, cages, or bombs. It's basically Bejeweled 1 with a twist mechanic layered on top. It's not bad, but I find it less engaging than the original Beghouled because it doesn't really add anything beyond the twist gimmick. In terms of fun, I'd give it a 6 out of 10, slightly below Beghouled. Originality gets a 1 out of 10. It's mostly recycled concepts with one gameplay change. Faithfulness gets a 5 out of 10. It's accurate to the core mechanic, but strips away most of what made the original interesting. I can't really give it more credit than that. This last minigame is one only a handful of people have experienced because it's exclusive to the console port of Plants vs. Zombies. It replaces its raining seeds with a heavy weapon. In this minigame, you control a lawnmower with a pea cannon mounted on top and roll around shooting zombies. Sun falls from the sky and you use it to buy upgrades. Repeater lets you shoot 2 streams of peas, Repeater shoots 3, and Cattail adds a secondary weapon that fires slow homing needles at zombies. This minigame isn't based on the original heavy weapon exactly, but rather the console port, which made some notable changes. The original used the mouse for aiming and your tank followed the cursor, meaning you constantly switched between aiming and positioning it. It was difficult for newcomers. The console version reworked controls to use dual analog sticks instead. In the original heavy weapon, you shot down incoming Red Star aircraft while allies delivered upgrades periodically. You unlocked new upgrades after each level and could mix and match them. The main gimmick was nukes. If you had one, you right-clicked and... full screen wipe. The PvZ version keeps that feel. It can be challenging due to RNG. Your bullet streams spread out the farther they travel, so you might hit bottom lane zombies with multiple Ps while only one connects at the top. You'll probably lose a lawnmower or 2 because of that. Doomstream acts as your nuke substitute. It's not a full screen wipe, but that 5x5 radius is still devastating. This is easily one of my favorite minigames. I like Heavy Weapon and this blends the 2 franchises together very well. Fun gets a 9 out of 10. It's challenging, but not overwhelming. Originality gets a 10 out of 10. I love how they adapted Heavy Weapon's upgrade system into PvZ mechanics using sun and plant-themed upgrades. It even plays the Grasswalk Horde music to mimic Heavy Weapon's war-like soundtrack. Faithfulness also gets a 10 out of 10. It's an excellent rendition of a challenging game without oversimplifying it. If this video makes you curious about PopCap's other weird titles, I genuinely encourage you to expand your horizons and try them out. Peggle and Zuma are great places to start, and most of these games are on Steam for about $5, though they frequently go on sale for around $1. What's your opinion on these minigames? Do you agree with my rankings or do you have a different opinion? Feel free to discuss it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and special appreciation to my channel members for sticking around through the 2-month hiatus.